like to welcome you all to 1 Million Cups. 1 Million Cups is part of the Kauffman Foundation out of Kansas City. There's 1 Million Cups chapters all over. Here's our mission real quick. Read it real quick. Okay. There's chapters all over the United States. Every chapter meets every Wednesday morning. Format's the same. There's some connecting, coffee, presenter. We've been having 2 presenters because there's so much happening in our ecosystem here. And then some more connecting afterwards. You can be out the door by 9:30. We'd like to thank our sponsors, of course, the Kauffman Foundation. Lincoln Partnership for Economic Development. Is Abby here today? Okay, she's the lady there. And guess who brought donuts today? Baird home, and they're right back there. They forgot them last week, and we were going to take them off the slide here, but we'll. Who brought them today? I did. Oh. Okay, thank you, Merle Lynch. Don't Panic Labs for the awesome space here. Bill and Lindsay, thank you. Escape Lincoln, Fuse Co-working. If you attend 1 Million Cups, you can work free of charge at Fuse Co-working down at 8th and P in the Haymarket. We thank the mill for the all-important coffee and Alloy Systems. Our awesome group of organizers. This is an awesome group to work with because we just have all kinds of fun. Want to thank Abby with LPED, on with Escape Lincoln. Dane is in Maine right now. I didn't silence your phones, people. I didn't silence mine. Dane is in Maine right now, so he can't be here, but he has bats to rats or rats to bats. I always get them. And then Amy with Southeast Community College, Focus Suites, our fearless leader Dow, who brought the donuts, Dave with Union Bank and Trust, he can't make it today, Lindsay with Don't Panic Labs, and Sarah, who is now with Olson. She's in their innovation unit there. And I'm Vaughn with Strat DM. We do ask that you check in. I couldn't find table tents because usually but there's a barcode, and then there's a barcode back by the coffee. And we had a regional meeting with Kansas City last Monday, and we get points for doing different things. And our attendance is worth so many points. And we want to try to get the most points of any of the chapters in the Midwest region. So please do check in, and then you'll get one email every week letting you know what the upcoming program is going to be like. We won't be spamming you or anything like that. Afterwards, we do have what we call office hours, and you have some local experts that are willing to talk to you about any number of subjects. Of course, Don't Panic Labs and Lindsay will could talk to you about software engineering and innovation. And anybody has any questions on strategic planning, mission, vision, values, I'd be happy to talk with you about that. Chinchi here with, she'll talk to you about nonprofits. Nebraska Business Development Center. Quentin isn't here today. I haven't seen him. So he can't talk about government contracting, but he gave an awesome presentation last week. So if you want to do business with the government, Quentin is based out of Focus Suites, Southeast Community College. Dow and Merle Lynch, happy to talk with you about investments. And Dave, who is not here today, but he can talk to you about banking. We have 2 awesome presenters today. The first one is Sean Fintel. Sean is with GrazeStat. Are you ready, Sean?
Yes, I'm ready.
Okay. Well, without any further ado, let's give Sean a big 1 Million Cups welcome. Woo!
Good morning, everybody. Thanks, everybody, for coming. Looking forward to talking with you today about GrazeStat. And I actually did this presentation, discussion, whatever you'd like to call it, at Norfolk a couple weeks ago, and there were 7 people there. So this is awesome to see everybody here. I'm sorry, that was practice so that I could do a perfect job for you here today. But yeah, I'm Sean Fintel, and we've been working on GrazeStat for quite a while, actually, if you think about it. This has been an idea that I've had in my mind ever since 2013 when we lost a mare to late gestation colic. And this idea has been evolving in my mind ever since then. It evolved into a feeder, the Easy Grazer feeder, and then it evolved into a health monitoring feeder. And now we are at the stage where we are going to be talking about predictive equine health intelligence. So really, what we're doing is setting up the framework for equine telehealth. So that all the data points that we get from watching a horse passively with the cameras gives us that data. Quick little bit about my background. Grew up on a farm, row crop livestock, and I also come from a research, a product management, and a sales and marketing background. So I'm going to talk to you about a whole bunch of data, and I'm going to convince you that it's the greatest idea in the world with my background. But if you're curious, you can check out this Midwest Messenger article from last year, October 30th. It was a great article. I didn't expect it to be on the front page, but that article talked a little bit about the background and what my vision is with GrazeStat. So really, where this stems from is we've got a veterinarian shortage, not only in Nebraska, but across the U.S. And this will help out with that, not only with the equine teletriage that we can do in the telehealth, but it will also enable more vets to be in the rural area, because the rural vets who take care of large animals will be able to do teletriage, telehealth remotely. So that'll help supplement their income. My intention with this is I want to build with our customers, not just for them. So this is active involvement from horse owners. It's being built by horse owners for horse owners. So very important there. The interest has been quite overwhelming, really across the world. This is actually a post from a site in Australia where they say, I'll be pleased to see this type of technology worldwide. And so that's a big thing. The team, the most important part to bring GrazeStat to life. The team is the most important part. I'm the CEO and founder, but my wife, Lexi, who's sitting back there, my beautiful wife, she is our founding advisor and equine customer advisor. So that's a big job, really helping to prop me up and make me look good. That's a big job. But also, my mom is here today, Cheryl Fintel, and she's an important part of the team. I didn't know she was going to be here today, otherwise I would have put her up there. So I apologize for that, but if it wasn't for my mom, I wouldn't be here. So she is definitely a part of the team. Very important, 2 very important team members, Bill Udell and Josh Donner, who a lot of you know. But they have been a critical part of this since the start. And this all started about a year ago at AgTech Connect when I was presenting there. We met Malika there, and that's kind of where this conversation started. I had this vision, and they're bringing it to life. And a big part of that is the evidence-guided product engineering. We're the first company to try that out, to work with Don't Panic Labs on that. And from my perspective, it works great because we're not setting a target way out. We're setting it up in blocks to get to where we're trying to get to. And it has worked out perfectly so far. We're 2 months away from having a working prototype. So that is awesome. But what you can see up there is actually, this is what it'll look like. We'll talk about that here in a little bit. Those are actually our horses in our horse lot. That's gathering the data, and that's huge. Jeff Morris, he's here. He's our patent attorney, and Jeff has been great to work with. on this project and to keep us in line. And hopefully, as I'm up here, I'm not going to say something I shouldn't say. So if you do, just do this or something. Jared Wareham with Horizon Venture Management, another advisor, but also the Combine, Nebraska Department of Economic Development, Launch LNK, LPED, AILA Engineering. Thank you, everyone, for all your help on this. We wouldn't be able to do this without you. What this is, it is a $2 billion problem that we're trying to find a solution for. So it's pretty easy to do the math. 6.7 million horses in the US. And if you look at the data, 30% of horses, it seems like a big number, but they have some type of health ailment every year. It could be minor, it could be bigger. But that's about $1,000 per incident, and that adds up to $50 billion. And really what horse owners spend per horse, whether it's a $1,000 horse or a $30 million horse, about $7,500 per year. So this is just a little piece of what they would be paying for their horses per year. And we've got actual data. So this is all reference data that shows that at some point in the year, you can have a colic, ulcer, infectious disease, laminitis, and this is actual citable data from the USDA, from American Equestrian Veterinarian Association, and a number of other very important organizations that you can actually cite this data from. And it comes down to about 20% of all horses, we can use water and hay, that consumption data, to predict if there's going to be an issue with the horse. So that is huge to be able to look at that. And I compare that to the home security industry. So the home security industry is 1 in 3 households. That's a lot of household security systems. We can get there with equine health monitoring also. So I look at them as the same parallel. So we're going to turn that hay and water intake into early actionable data before the problems happen. And that's important because it's a $50 billion industry, and we've got the opportunity to save a lot of horses. So this is how it works. You've got a camera, you've got the AI engine, you've got your deviation. This was my stab at what the app could look like initially, and the team at Don't Panic Labs is blowing this out of the water. It's so much more easy to work with. And so we're going to get to that point where you can share data with a vet. You can get an updated stat. That's my vision, where we're going to get to eventually. And that's what it looks like. So you've got the confidence interval of identifying the horse. If you take that identification of the horse along with how often are they eating, how often are they drinking, what's the duration, that's all to predict if they're going to get sick or not. And it's the only passive system out there, so that's why patent protection is important, but also just getting it to work right, and you can actually see it working. So that's pretty cool. So what you can actually see is, if you think of it like a home security system, these are all data points. That's how long Lily was at the feeder. That's how long Reno was at the water. All data points to predict that potential illness. So if we look at how big that industry actually is, what we're looking at is $25 per month per horse. And the feedback in customer discovery has been very positive with that. Actually, it was kind of like, take my money, give it to me, was the feedback so far. But if you just look at comparable to that home security system market, you just get a chunk of that, you're looking at a big potential ARR per year. So this is a huge market. We are market shapers with this. I would assume down the road there will be more market followers, but really we're at the perfect juncture right now for using computer vision to predict this information for horses. 2 or 3 years ago, this probably wasn't possible, but we're at that point right now, so we're going to get in the market before everybody else starts following. Then you take a look at that global market, that's huge. So $25 per month, that chunk of the home security system market, it might seem like a big number, but it's possible. Let's look down the road with everything else that's possible too. hydration and virus scoring. So if you set up the system as far as if this, then that. So if the temperature is this and your horse isn't drinking water, that's easy data to come up with. But we're going to skip right to the foaling prediction. So monitoring and foaling prediction, very important there. So if you look ahead at what we can do there, potentially, this is just a look at what you could see: horse identification, foaling, and that's a big part as well down the road. So really, what we do is we set up for equine telehealth. So just picture having an issue with a horse, being able to share that with your vet, but more importantly, just look at a home security system. When the police are called with this system, the same thing, your vet would be called automatically. So that's essentially the same type of parallel. And I'm probably way over time, so I'm going to go ahead and open it up for questions. Yes?
Do you see long-term commercial applications for like a ranch or something like this?
Yeah, so really across all of the horse disciplines, from performance horses to ranch horses to race horses, really we could touch all markets. So all those markets add up to 6.7 million horses, which ranches will be a big part of that as well, because that's really one of our areas where we can help out a lot, because ranch horses are usually out in a lot. They're in that perfect environment for passive observation. But when you're only using that horse a few hours a day, what's happening the rest of those hours? So that'll be a perfect opportunity, ranch horses. Yeah.
Only, no backlog positions?
Yeah, so perfect question for a segue into the future. So right now our algorithm is concentrating on horses, but we are going to be looking also at expansion into cattle as well. There's a lot of similarities there that we can also take advantage of. Yes, sir.
So are you familiar with quantified ag?
Yes. Yeah, with the Vishal. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Can you tell us why wouldn't you use the same technology for horses?
Very good question. So with quantified ag, with Vishal Singh's invention, if that's what you're mentioning, so that's with an ear tag monitor, and with horses, there are wearables out there like halters and other devices. We don't use ear tags with horses, but that's been one of the biggest areas of feedback from horse owners is we don't want anything on the horse. We don't want a halter. We don't want like Garmin as a device that attaches to their tail. It's not in a real good spot and it has to be charged. So that's kind of a problem to do that. So we want to be all passive. Yeah. Yeah.
To be able to detect behavior within your tag. You're not going to know if we don't. You didn't really go into it, but when the horses are drinking and eating, you can't detect that with just the tag without an extra hardware. So this is all done with pure data.
Yeah, and that's a good point, Josh. So if I didn't have a lot of time to jump into it, but so you have a feeder. Every time that horse interacts with that feeder, that's a data point. Same thing with the water. But the great thing is, where this started out initially was with just the feeder, that we would have to have a specific feeder. We're going to be hardware agnostic, so we can use any feeder, any water, and it's all set up with the user ahead of time.
So you can just take the feed?
Yeah, yep. Yeah, so the great thing is we're about 2 months away from having a working prototype where we'll have a camera, the edge device, and we'll actually be able to see it remotely. So if I was giving this presentation in 2 months, we'd probably be able to see our horses out there and show exactly how it would work. Yeah.
Could you tell us a little bit about your customer discovery journey and what that's looked like or how you approach that?
Yeah, so customer discovery is a very important part of this, and the customer discovery has been going on for quite a while. Officially over the last year, where we started getting feedback, and then formally I got feedback from 55 horse owners that went into the customer discovery survey initially across all horse disciplines to get that feedback. But then we've also got an active survey on our website where people can go on there and submit their thoughts. because it is built by horse owners. That feedback will be very important to make sure that customer discovery is a big part of our forward path.
Did you knock on doors for the first 55?
Well, so it was a combination of rodeo events like last year. If you've heard of the National Finals Rodeo, that was a really good opportunity to visit with a lot of customers across a lot of disciplines, but then also a lot of different horse owners that are just friends and family. So yeah, but really the most important feedback is people that I don't know that can just go to that website, provide their information. And a lot of that came out after I did some live stream events where we were getting customer feedback right after that too. So yeah, that's very important.
Got time for one more question.
Yeah.
So I work in human medicine, not equine medicine, but in terms of how detailed the data is, if you're checking behavior to see how long they're at the feeder, like I have 2 dogs and one snarfs his food in 2 seconds and the other kind of eats it slower. So would there be an option to have the food, like the feeder or the water, like a scale or something, or a scale for the horse so that every day you have an additional metric, and then you can use a formula based on how long they're at the feeder and how much is consumed to have a more accurate data point?
Yeah, you're reading my mind, because that's actually a part of our provisional patent where we could use load cells. But in some of my past work with load cells, I used to support research equipment in South America from North America. And one of our biggest issues that we had was load cell failures. So we're trying to get to the point where we don't have anything that can break down. But we're open to that too as a potential. We're also, if we've got some wearables that will work well and that we can add to the system, as an option. There might be some horse owners that like their wearable, and then we can integrate that in as another data layer.
Because do horses have a BMI? So if you're using the camera to measure the horse and its physical metrics, how accurate is it that you could determine a weight change of 5 to 10 pounds?
I'd like to get there, and what I like to see is how fast the technology is moving with really body imaging and things like that I think will be a part of the future. And really right now the way it'll be set up is so if you look at hay consumption, typically a horse will graze about 1 pound per hour. So with different feeder types, you may have a slow feed hay net where they might eat a 1/2 pound per hour. Or if you've got a really hungry horse, 2 pounds per hour. So that can be set depending on the type of the feeder. And based on duration at that feeder, then that will give you an estimated consumption amount, just like with the water or two. How long were they at the water or how long were they at the feeder, and then that will give us our data. So yeah, you're spot on with your question.
Okay, thank you, Sean.
Great questions, appreciate it.
And you'll stick around if anybody wants to talk to you
Absolutely.
one-on-one.
Yep.
Okay, the last question we always ask at 1 Million Cups is, what can we as a community do for you?
Yeah, so far the community has been very helpful, and the feedback from horse owners, that's a very, very valuable piece of data. But then also in the future, we're going to be looking at outside investment as well. Right now we're kind of bootstrapping. So thankfully with the prototype grant and launch LNK, we've had some great opportunities to fund what we're doing so far. But in the future, to keep this going, we're going to have to be looking at investment. So the other thing would be follow our Facebook page. Go to GrazeStat, follow that Facebook page, keep in touch with our journey, and we look forward to growing the business with our horse owners. So really appreciate your time.
Thank you so much, Sean.
All right, thank you. Appreciate your time.
Now this next one, I'm kind of eager to hear a lot about, being an ex-headhunter and having a major portion of my career in human resources. This sounds very interesting. So our next presenter is Mikki Sandin with American Job Center. Let's give her a big welcome. Woo!
I am happy to be here. I do attend 1 Million Cups a lot and enjoy bringing friends and people here. So since I now work with the American Job Center and have resources to share, I'm excited that I can do that. So Again, my name is Mikki Sandin, and I'm a career planner, but I also work with a lot of employers. So I like to say I'm also part of the business service team, and Dylan Wren is here with me. He is our director of the American Job Center, so he's here to support. And I told him he could come up if he wanted to. Also, I nabbed his picture off of LinkedIn, so be careful what pictures you put out there, because I'm really good at taking pictures off the internet. So at the American Job Center, we are a city entity, and we administer the WIOA funds, which is the Workforce Innovation and Opportunities Act. And we also have another program that the city has announced last year, the mayor announced, and I'll talk about that in a little bit. But our main goal is to support job seekers and also employers. So hopefully that maybe hits a chord with many of you. With our job seekers, we do career planning with them. We do a lot of workshops for resumes, interview skills, being able to just be more prepared to go in and do those applications, and then just overcoming barriers. So many of our people come in, like it's a job center. You can walk in if you can get through all the construction, because we're right on the corner of 14th and N across from Bennett Martin Library. We can't even use our parking garage today because they're tearing up the concrete as you exit. So, we're living with it. And then internships for many of our youth. So you may have heard of the Mayor's Youth Employment Program. We run that. We hire the youth and place them with a lot of city entities, but also individual companies as well. For employers, we have opportunities for wage reimbursement as you're hiring new people, engaging new talent that we have vetted through our process, and providing those interns or temporary job seekers who will work for you for a period of time. Oh, and our service area is Lancaster and Saunders County. So right now, those are the two counties that we do work with anybody who is looking for jobs or has a business in those areas. I will say that because we work with Southeast Community College so much with our Future Ready jobs, we also students that are going out to Milford. Last year, the city announced a Future Ready workforce program. You may have heard the announcement from Mayor Larry Gaylord Baird, who committed $1.3 million to our workforce development efforts in these specific areas of HVAC, plumbing, electrical, and auto tech. So these are considered what the city has considered are high demand, high skill, high wage jobs. As you know, many people are, retiring in those types of jobs. Many people don't consider that as areas to go into. But so we did, for instance, in June and July, I hosted career exploration days in these areas. And we hosted several high school, even just barely high school. One boy last week, I was like, wow, he looks like he's like 10. But, he said he was going into high school. So just to explore that with our SEC instructors and getting some hands-on experience and getting a chance to actually see what a day in life would be. But we brought many employers to this too, which I think was one of the biggest pluses of it. They loved listening to that. For the person looking for this, we can provide internships, work experience, or jobs in these areas. Students can receive support in their tuition, tools, apparel, sometimes transportation, their books. So if we are kind of the payer of last resort, so we will ask them to do their FAFSA and make sure that they can get a Pell Grant or not. Ask them to, apply for the career scholarships through SEC and also the GAP funding. But if they can't cover all of that or they're not eligible for that, we can help in those areas. Being able to have those internships and work experiences helps them get those skills to put on their resume for their full-time, and that's always our goal, is to make sure people have gotten through the experiences and have the skills they need to enter into full-time jobs. Also networking, as we obviously value by coming to this group, networking and building that social capital for a lot of people who may not have a lot of work history or have had barriers in their work history. Just being able to connect with some positive employers is so valuable. So that was a really great part of last week. This Future Ready Workforce Program, all of this is on our website, which I'll show you at the end, but we do have eligibility criteria. They have to live or want to work in Lancaster County for the Future Ready part because that is a city of Lincoln. initiative, and just that they are ready to pursue that training. Some people may obviously want to try, but it takes a lot of work to go through these trainings, right? So we want to work with them, and the career planners at the AJC do a great job just making sure that that's where they're headed. And so we have different support, and then we have supportive services. And I think the main reason I wanted to show you this is these folks that are doing the internships and going into on-the-job trainings, they're supported through our office as an ongoing service. So if there's something happening and we need to work with them on things, we love working with the employers. It's not like we're just saying, here, take this person and good luck with them, right? Our employer services goal is to connect employers with the talent and provide resources for this workforce development. We do individual tailoring for different employers, and also every single person that comes in as a job seeker is an individual. We don't have cookie cutter, we have certain programs, but we don't have cookie cutter services for them. So really, we are preparing job seekers, offering them to you as potential candidates for hire, and we will provide them ongoing support. With the on-the-job training program, as an employer, you are eligible between 50 to 75% of wage reimbursements for brand new hires that you've entered into this contract with us on. So we're gonna set up a job plan with you and the new hire, and we have already vetted candidates to make sure they're part of our program when we send them to you. But you do interview them, make sure they're a good fit for you, and they make sure that you're a good fit for them as well. But we do create this training plan, and if you have under 200 employees, you'll be able to get 75% wage reimbursements during that training time. Obviously, there's a max dollar to that, so there's a whole calculation that Dylan can explain that one. Temporary work is what we consider for our adults, and internships are really the ages 16 to 24. So that's our youth is 16 to 24. Adults are 18 to whenever someone wants a job. So we work with people of all ages, all stages, career changers, people who have been incarcerated, people who have been in foster care, people who have had several different jobs. And, we work with them through workshops and career planning. Our internships, is something we have for 240 hours maximum. We've had some new partners in that this summer and doing some pilots, which has been really exciting to just kind of work out some of the kinks with different companies, some large companies, some small companies. And so the wages and the workman's comp for those interns is paid by the city of Lincoln. And we ask that you agree to host them. So you won't necessarily get to interview them. We're trying to make sure they would be a good fit based on what we understand your needs are. And we'll say, we have a person who really wants this type of experience. So if you're interested in hosting an intern, please let us know. Again, just supporting job seekers to overcome barriers to employment is one of our main things. And so here's a few other things. If they're looking for certifications, especially short-term certifications such as CDLs or CNAs or things that we can see them gain success and a measure of being able to get into that employment a little quicker. Sometimes we're providing transportation assistance with bus passes and things, workwear, uniforms, tools. I don't know if you've seen the list of tools that like an electrician needs to get started into that program at SCC, but it is very, very costly. And so that's a huge piece that we do with a lot of these future-ready people that are going to school is do their tools reimbursement or payment. We also work with dislocated workers. For instance, Lexington, as we all know, had a huge population of dislocated workers as the Tyson plant closed. So, but in order to serve them, they would have moved to Lincoln, but there are job centers all across the state. So it's not like they don't have them out there too, but just finding places where there are job opportunities. And then just, again, I like to reemphasize that we always have that ongoing support, and we will continue to follow and check in monthly with everyone that we work with. And even if they would graduate from their program in HVAC, they have to agree to do another year of follow-up with us, and we just want to see them continue to build that success. That is our main resources that I wanted to share with you. We do work with all different industries and types of workers, so I just am hired for the future-ready, like employer resources especially. But if you have any ideas, or please pass along this information to people that you know. Maybe you even have kids that are like trying to figure out, what am I gonna do when I grow up? Well, that's what we're here for. And anyone can walk into the job center though. I mean, if you've lost a job or you're trying to figure out what I wanna do when I grow up, then you can come in there as well. So. We are always trying to just continue to build our community. The economic development here with our workforce is really important. And I like to say that your job is the hub of how you thrive, right? If you don't have a good job that you enjoy, make the type of living you want, then it's really hard for everything else. But we also help them with the holistic life. So. There's my information. Dylan, I didn't even let you talk because I just. All right, so with the questions, Dylan can maybe help me out with some of these. I've only been there for 3 months. Malika.
Actually, I don't have a question. Great job.
Thanks.
And hi, Dylan. I just wanted to say that when she was talking about the on-the-job training, we have obviously participated in that within the Don't Panic Labs Pathways program. So hypothetically, Sean's business takes off, which is going to happen, and he wants to hire a software engineer, for example. He can utilize the Liable Fund grant to be able to put them through the Pathways program for that person to become employable afterwards for GrazeStat. So like people have utilized it to put people through Pathways program before, and I have loved working with Dylan and his team, and it's amazing. So it's been great. I'm so glad you guys exist.
Thank you. Yeah. Any questions? Yes.
So, do you provide any training that would incentivize or motivate your entrepreneurship-based students to start their own business?
Well, I mean, a lot of these students who are going into those career-ready field or the future-ready fields, for instance, last week out at SCC, I had someone who was in the aircraft industry, worked for Duncan, and he ended up job shifting and starting his own business in HVAC. So as he shared his story over lunch with our students, I think he really inspired people to realize that not only can this be a good career, but if you do want to start your own business, it's very possible. So yeah, that's a dream. We always ask as we're creating kind of our educational plan with our students, like what is your ultimate job or career goal? And many of them do say, well, actually I would like to start my own business, my own auto body shop, my own, yeah, as an electrician or whatever. So we're trying to get them, I mean, it takes a lot of experience. It takes a lot of that studying and getting through. But I mean, an electrician, there's so much code and all of the tests that you have to take to become like a master electrician. It would take them several years to start their own business, but it is possible.
We also pay for, at Southeast Community College, they have an apprenticeship certificate, I think, they're continuing that we can pay for.
An entrepreneurial certificate? Okay.
So some of you in here might actually want, you could do that. You'd have to meet the eligibility criteria, but we do support that.
Yeah, Vaughn?
You had mentioned working with formerly incarcerated people. Are you familiar with RISE?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Do you work with them at all, or?
Formally, I mean, they're a partner, certainly. Actually, that brings me to August 4th. We're having a career fair. We're working with RISE, with Southeast Community College, and with Community Corrections. They are preparing the people who are in Community Corrections right now on work release and starting to go towards re-entry into the community. We're having a career fair free for any employers who would like to come out and just talk with the folks from Community Corrections that'll be coming out looking for jobs as they are preparing for re-entry. So it's on August 4th, 1 to 3, and I'll put this poster up if anybody wants to see it. But
So a lot of the training sounds like hard skills, like this is how you do plumbing, this is how you do electric, but I've been on both sides. brand employees. So what about the soft skills, like showing up to work on time, appropriate hygiene, not stealing things, being polite, like acting appropriate in front of a customer, things like that? What kind of training is involved with regard to that?
So Department of Labor and some of our staff also, because we are in the same office, they do offer weekly workshops on many of those topics. And I think that we should take a look at what all is included. And I mean, we always do the resume building workshop and the interviews. And so do you know more about the specific workshops that they offer?
Conflict resolution training and stuff. I guess the trick is we offer the training, but as an individual, you have to say, I'd like to learn skills. I'd like to learn how to navigate the workplace or my life. So
all of our services are free. Anybody can walk in there and do these.
go to our website, we actually list all the workshops that we do. And so there are some soft skills training.
So we could send a current employee to send soft skills.
Yes, you could. That's the number one thing every employer tells me. Just get people to show up for work and show up on time.
That's really
It is.
one of the hardest things is just showing up and doing the job.
Yeah, in the back there.
Yeah, I do appreciate American Job Centers. I have friends and families that work for the job center and they're able to get back on their seats. But I'm curious to like the revenue model. Like, does the job center make most of its money through like grants and federal funding, or is it through contracts for part of there's contracts with other businesses for sending people out to work?
Yeah, great question.
Yeah.
So the American Job Center is fully funded through federal grants and local grants. So we don't ever charge job seekers or employers for any of these services. So it's what we call the public workforce system. So it's all free. I mean, it's free in that it doesn't cost upfront, it costs taxpayers in the back end.
Like, how would prospective temp services look for those types of grants and funding? Is it like a specific process that they have to go through?
Well, that's complicated.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like a temp service wouldn't be eligible to apply for a lot of those grants. So.
And we're not a staffing service. We don't have you come in and we have a job to offer you like a staffing service or a temp service would. We're helping you become career ready through trainings, through workshops, through funding. So it's a little different piece of the pie. You bet.
And the last question we always ask, how can we as a community do something for you?
I think number one, host an intern. These folks need job experience. They need to come out and see how you run your businesses. They need to learn how to build these soft skills. And I know it can be hard work for you as an employer, but it really is part of building our community of workforce-ready people. And I think too, if you are an employer who is hiring somebody new and you want to send them to us before they're officially hired, we'd love to see if they qualify for our programs and we can give you some wage reimbursements. So those are two of the biggest things. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you so much, and we will want to get a picture. If any of you feel that you need to be up here presenting, get in touch with one of the organizers, or if you know somebody that should, have them get in touch with it. Here are some of the weekly events coming up, so make note of those. Is there anything else coming up that anybody wants to mention here? Yes.
Not for this specifically one, but there is a nonprofit that's hosting a poker run on September 12th. They're starting here in Lincoln, but going to some rural communities as well.
Okay.
Starting at Frontier on the 12th of September.
You have to be a biker, or?
You don't always welcome.
Oh.
So come play some give raffle prizes. It's to support survivors of domestic violence.
Okay. Does anybody else have anything? I don't know if we're out of coffee yet or not, but if not, have another cup, connect with your fellow entrepreneurs, and we will see you next week at 1 Million Cups.